Well, I'd like to say thank you for coming along today and supporting us for the Howden Vintage Day fashion show through the decades.
We're going to start with set one. So we've got 5 models coming out. So I'm hoping I'll hear the patter of footprints. Just before we do that, while they're doing that, I'll introduce myself. My name's Patrick. As well as wearing this silly wig tonight, which I'm getting extremely hot in. I'm the chair of Howden Vintage Day, so as I say, we're a voluntary group who put the event on. Hopefully we're back next May doing the event in the town square, so as I say, that's the plan. And that's what tonight, as well as some other events we're doing this year for, is to raise funds for putting that event on. So, I'm going to ask again if our models for set one are ready. Aha, some people. Can you hear me? Hello. Okay. Howden is wearing an original 1940s. I'm going to swap microphone. You can stand up. Hello, is that better? Hooray! Technology, eh? It is the 1940s. These microphones run on candles. Okay, so we'll start again. So Alwyn is wearing an original 1940s Rodney dresses of London and New York day dress in cotton sateen. The dress is a double-breasted front with a rounded collar, which you can see. Down and see really well. A skirt with double pleats at the front, turned back classic 3/4 sleeves, and boasts its original belt. So it's an original 1940s day dress. The small half hat is by Henry Heaths of London. And notice Alwyn's seams look classy and have been tattooed onto her legs. Ooh. So thank you, Alvin. We'll come amongst you now. Okay, so this is our second model. This is Carol. Carol is wearing a design day dress made to look like a 2-piece suit in an olive and lime green fabric. This is an original 1950s dress by high-end label Celavine from London, who operated from the late 50s through to the 1960s. So thank you, Carol. So our first part is Nicola. So the 1960s fell in love with man-made materials, with young designers keen to find angles on established forms. They exploited the potential of modern plastics and synthetic fibre. Perspex, PVC, polyester, acrylic, nylon and rayon, and spandex. Who doesn't like a bit of spandex? To create easy care outfits which were eye-catching and fun. Crimpling was a popular fabric in the 1960s fashion. This vintage crimpling fabric of mustard, brown and yellow has been made by Butterfly Treasures into a mod style dress, trimmed with daisy cotton lace. So, 2 models coming. So, our first is Effie. So if you haven't noticed, Effie, this model in our show, rocked a 1960s mini dress in lime green, daisy prints by Butterfly Treasures. Made from a 1960s children's pattern. Microphones in a minute when we get to the end of this set. Effie completes the look with a rattan and suede shoulder bag. Very nice. Okay, and Heather. Here's Heather. Heather is the seamstress behind Flying Treasures. She's going back to her youth wearing a long swirl petal design peasant skirt with two complementing floral cottons in shades of pink and green made from an original 1970s sewing pattern. It's teamed with a crochet fringed wool top sourced from eBay. Trying to work out where we were looking then. And it also comes with a homemade crochet tote bag to complete the look. So thank you to Heather and especially to Effie. Okay, so we're moving straight into set 2. I think we'll just give our models a little while to wander around. Hopefully the microphone will keep us going. Just letting our models from set 1 get around. Looking very nice at the back of the minster there. Thank you, ladies. So, moving on to set 2. So our first model in set 2 is Daryl. So Daryl is wearing a knee-length original blush pink straight-laced dress from the late 1950s with sweetheart neckline and 3/4 length sleeves. The dress bears the label couture from Birkentex. That takes some saying. Birkentex, a Bond Street of London, were established in 1936 as a manufacturer of mid-price clothing. And then the company was to become one of the largest makers of clothing in the UK. In 1942, Norman Hartnell began designing ready-to-wear dresses for Birkentex. He continued until at least 1952. His name features on a special Birkentex label specifying designed by Howden. Sadly, being the late 1950s, this is not one of them. So we're lucky there, Darryl, but I'm sure you look lovely. Thank you. So if you'd like to thank Darryl, it gives an air of flamboyance. You do flamboyance. That's flamboyance. Michelle carries a vintage handbag and gloves in pale blue to complete the look. Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
We have filled. Okay, so Al again. So we're going into the 1940s now. The 1930s loungewear and workwear blended to create the first decade of women's trousers. Styled after menswear, but with a definite feminine silhouette, women began to wear pants as everyday attire. Unlike men's trousers, which were buttoned at the front fly, so I'm reading this, women's pants had a side zipper. At the front on a woman would be seen to be too or vulgar. The hand-knitted teal jumper has been knitted by Alwyn herself, and because she is knitting bells. And this is from an original 1940s knitting pattern, and it's worn with cream-buttoned swing pants and 1940s style memory shoes made from an original pattern and in green to complement the colour of the jumper. Okay, so this is Carol again. She's wearing an original 1940s navy suit. Note the shaped waist, turned up shaped jacket cuff sleeves, and material detailing to the left lapel. Thank you. The 6 jacket buttons are pin shank buttons, take some saying, where the buttons are pinned through with a brass shank to create a button loop. The skirts are Shall I put the stripper music on again? The skirt has a half-box pleat back detailed from waist to hem. Carol's beautiful blouse, which she's now going to reveal, don't do that, she'll be big-headed all night. So Carol's beautiful blouse has been made by Butterfly Treasures to a 1940s pattern, with its dart nipped in waist to create the blouson look of the 1940s and long full sleeves with a slim cuff. Thank you. So here we have Andrea. So Andrea is wearing high-waisted jeans which became very popular in the 1950s after being worn by icons like Marilyn Monroe and Grace Kelly, and were all about the fit to a defined waist. Andrea wears these with a hand-knitted jumper by Alwyn of Knitting Bells. After the war years, knitting had a huge boost as greater colours and styles of yarn were introduced. Many thousands of patterns fed a market hungry for a fashionable design in bright colours. The type of knitwear was extremely popular to the home knitter. Knitting and needlecraft were not just considered hobbies, and girls were taught both craft in school, and society regarded these as skills that were useful. So thank you, Andrea. Okay, so we have Adele. So Adele is here to show us how easy it is to dress in a 1940s style with this outfit. She purchased the wide-leg check trousers from Marks and Spencer's in a sale. Here they are paired with a turquoise hand-knitted twin set from Knitting Bells. The twin set was a 1930s fashion innovation credited to knitwear designer Otto Weiss. You learned some things today. Who invented the matching cardigan and top for fashion brand Pringle of Scotland. Twin sets were associated most closely with women's work wardrobes during the 1950s and 60s, particularly in secretarial work or teaching. However, their popularity was largely driven by Hollywood stars such as Grace Kelly, Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn, who frequently were seen wearing them on and off set. Thank you, Andrea. So here we have Phil. So we're staying in the 1940s, and this is June 1945. Phil is wearing his two-piece, double-breasted, pinstripe D-mob suit. This was a suit of civilian clothing given to him after he was demobbed from action. If you look at his action wound badge on his lapel, you can see he was being discharged from the army due to injuries in action. The suits were made of good quality, but as time went on, more and more became demobilised. They were in short supply, and often men received suits that were of an incorrect size. I think Phil's fits him quite well. Many of the suits were made by Leeds company Burton's. Phil is wearing a spear point collar shirt and a wool tank top. Notice his military shoes that were issued when he was in the army. He's still wearing these as there were limited vouchers to purchase civilian shoes. He's sporting a trilby, popular in the 1940s, which features a snap brim and a curve down at the front and up at the back, with the indentation on the sides. So there we are. Phil, thank you very much. Okay, so firstly we have Adam. During the 1960s, for the first time, a clear separation emerged between clothing for young people and adults. Youths increasingly followed their own paths, and this was reflected in the outfits. Key trends from the 1960s included mod fashion and hippie fashion. Adam in hippie attire wears very tightly fitted, striped, flared with patch pocket trousers, I'm guessing that's about, worn with a t-shirt, and the outfit is completed with an edge-to-edge coat trimmed with fur, all by Butterfly Treasures. Afghan coats were commonly worn, but very few survived, as with wear they became unbearably smelly. And hot, apparently. That it is up here. And, of course, we've got Effie back. So, a change of outfit for Effie and some lovely flowers. So this is Adam's daughter Effie, dressed as a 1960s flower child in a long tie-dyed print dress with headband and suede tasseled waistcoat, all by Butterfly Treasures. Flower children were the first generational hippies who stood against war and advocated peace and love and rejected the conventional society, especially the dress. As a custom of flower children was to wear and distribute flowers or floral-themed decorations to symbolise those hippie ideals. Thank you both very much. Okay, we've got our next model, which is Lily. I wanted to use this original 1970s curtain fabric to make a jumpsuit and matching coat as a bit of fun. The coat also incorporates vintage buttons. Okay, so thank you, Lily. And our 1970s jumpsuit. So we're staying in the 1970s. Darryl is back wearing 1970s inspired trousers and halter top in a retro flower printed cotton. The 1970s was the era for halter necks, which were worn casually with jeans, trousers, long skirts, or more formally, as many evening dresses incorporated this neckline, and of course more flamboyant in gold and silver lame or sequins on the disco scene. Very nice. Nice bit of improvisation, I like that. Thank you, Darryl. Oh, they're getting changed quicker. Okay, so we have Carol back with us now. So we're back to the 1960s, and this is what every well-dressed woman was wearing in that decade. A very Norman Collier. A very heavy dress and coat by Lyons Gowns Limited, now long gone. I think that's the company rather new, dear. In a teal green damask fabric. Both dress and coat are now fully lined with viscous lining. The fitted short sleeve dress has a side tab detail on a low round neckline. The matching knee-length coat with 3/4 sleeves, side slanted bound edge pockets, and a real fur collar and fastenings with an inside tie belt and one button. During her term as First Lady, Jackie Kennedy favoured a uniform and clean look. To achieve this, she was a big fan of dress suits, and this only continued to keep them fashionable during the 1960s. Thank you, Carol. So we've got Alwyn back with us in another 1940s original dress. The black and white checked shirtwaister day dress is by Anne Aylin. I think that's pronounced something like, yes. With a V-neck with rolled collar. It has black buttons and black piping which goes down the hemline and along with two front pleats forming an A-line skirt, nicely demonstrated. It is short-sleeved and has a turned back cuffs. Alwyn wears this with black leather shoes with suede inserts. You might see them as she comes down. Notice her hat brim is made from... They put some really weird words in. It's not that hat, thank you. Alwyn is wearing a hat. That's not Astrakhan. That's what it should have been. That's the next one, thank you. To upgrade the evening wear, Alwyn is also carrying, or are you not this time? No. But don't tell me anything. No, don't worry. I shall reveal that next time. All right, I'm learning something here. No, it's fine. So, thank you, Alwyn, in your shirt-waisted day dress. So here we have Nicola. She's modelling a beautiful navy blue tailored shirt-waisted dress from the 1950s. This dress was most likely handmade by a very talented lady, as it has no labels, and the seams are unfinished. The workmanship, however, is exceptional, with full pleated skirt, buttoned from the top to the bottom, with bound buttonholes, and covered buttons, and matching belt and three-quarter sleeves with turned-back cuffs. Thank you very much. And finally for this set we have Adele, who's wearing a heavy wool tweed suit and mustard-coloured blouse from a reproduction 1940s sewing pattern, made to measure for Adele, again by Butterfly Treasures. The fabric, lining and buttons used are vintage. The suit has a slight A-line skirt and a fitted jacket with pockets and bound buttonholes. Thank you, Adele. Okay, so just while I'm waiting we're just coming into our final set of this first half, formal dress. It is in a stiff nylon printed chiffon with green and blue roses. Has a very simple Thank you, you fill in. And tiered full skirt worn with a net petticoat under it. You don't need to show us that. Again, this accentuates the waist, showing off the figure beautifully. I have to read that because it says that in the words here. The dress belongs to Heather's mum, who is now 96, who wore this to garden parties. The dress is teamed with a sage hat made by Michaela of Edelweiss Vintage Hair, who's hiding down here, I can see her. Lace gloves and dowel carries. That are probably in the dressing room. And Darrell carries a sage clutch bag. Thank you, Darrell. Seems to be a theme here. Made from its original sewing pattern in a modern bubble crepe fabric with side zip. Side zips were common in most outfits during the 1940s, although centre back zips did start to creep in at the end of the decade. Who knew that? Okay, thank you, Andrea. we're moving back to the 1960s. So this is Lily. So Lily's our final model of this first show. She's wearing a funnel-necked dress with button details in a cream and orange polyester fabric by Butterfly Treasures. Referred to as funnel, as the neckline was made with the fabric standing high and close to the neck. It was cut or knitted in one piece with the torso rather than being added as a collar. Lily wears white go-gos to complete the 1960s look. So thank you, Lily.
Same models, different outfits, so we should begin. Thank you. Okay, so here we have our first model in the second part. This is Nikki. She's wearing a super tunic and zip front, paired with trousers in a brown, yellow and white striped vintage crimpling by Butterfly Treasures. This style emerged in the late 1960s and carried on through to the early 70s, as demonstrated by Nikki's outfit, often in dramatic prints and sleeveless. Thank you, Nikki.
Got my confidence now.
Okay, so we have Albert back with us. Yes, it's the second half, using his stage name now. This is Albert. So he's wearing a black two-piece drape suit with a blue velvet collar, cuffs and pockets. The drape suit is a British variation of the three-piece suit introduced in the 1930s, also known as the blade cut or London cut. The design of the suit was attributed to London tailor Frederick Scholt. Albert teams this with a blue silky waistcoat, have a look at your waist, very nice, with a salmon-coloured shirt. His shoes are burgundy crepe, a style of shoe with thick crepe soles, often with suede uppers. According to Albert, they're also known as brothel creepers. I don't know how he knows that. The style of footwear became fashionable in the years following World War II and has seen a resurgence of popularity at various times, including the Ton-Up Boys of the 1950s and the Rockers of the 1960s. So thank you very much, Albert. Okay, so welcoming back onto stage Nicola. This 1950s style white with red spot cotton three-piece set comprises a pleated full skirt, a bustier top and a bolero jacket, all by Butterfly Treasures, which, I don't know whether it is gone now, which is a perfect partner to Bert's drape suit. In the 1950s, when the strapless dress supported by bones became popular, a brief jacket, loosely described as a bolero, also arrived on the scene as a modesties cover. Such bare skin. There you go, madam. Off you go. Okay, so welcoming back Carol. So from the mid-1940s to the early 1950s, the hips were given attention and the introduction of peplums at the waist. Thank you, that's a peplum apparently. This beautiful evening gown was originally a long dress, but has been shortened. The design has a peplum to the waist, front ruched bodice, wide pleated straps and full skirt. It's an original dress by Heiress, or Heiress, depending where you come from. From London, and is blue/grey satin viscose fabric embroidered with peach flowers. Thank you. Thank you to Carol. Do you want me to guide you to the end? Are you okay? Just very safety conscious. Okay, so this is Andrea. The trouser suit, or pantsuit in America, became increasingly widespread during the 1960s. This pink, texturized trouser suit with patch pockets and frog clasp fastening, that takes some saying, is teamed with a sleeveless black lace top, which fastens with one button at the back of the neck. It's close enough. Have a look. Oh, it is? Yeah, it is. All made from original 1960s sewing patterns by Butterfly Treasures in a modern fleece fabric and modern synthetic lace. Thank you. Do you want me to get you downstairs? Okay. I'm just checking. They're here. Okay, so we have Alwyn back. A 1940s original handmade stone cotton evening dress with its embellishments and bows. Note the half peplum at the front of the spitted skirts. Very nice, madam. The outfit is complemented with an original mink muff and matching stole. That's not a combination I thought I'd say tonight. Alwyn completes the ensemble with 1940s small hat embellished with netting. Yes, I checked it's the right one this time. To the back and a bow in the front, within velvet loops, brown 1940s style memory shoes, and gloves, just checking. So, yes, it looks lovely. Okay, so we have Adele back with us. This 1940s style loose-fitting dress has a back zipper, front tuck detail, attached ties at the waist, stand-up collar, front yokes, shoulder details. Thank you, you're helping me because I have no idea, I just say the words. Elbow-length sleeves and is fully lined. It's in a rich blue viscose crepe, which was made to measure for Adele by Butterfly Treasures. Thank you, Adele. Okay, so we have Daryl back with us. So Daryl is wearing a 1940s style wrap-over bodice, cap-sleeve dress in a pretty floral pink fabric by Butterfly Treasures. The wrap-over was designed in the early 1930s by, we'll put this one in, Elsa Schiaparelli, and then again in the 40s by Claire McCardle. Originally in denim, achieving their peak of popularity in the mid to late 1970s. Thank you, Daryl. So we have Jane back with us. That's it. Learn from the first time, don't run down the camera. So tea dresses were very popular from the early 1900s to the 1940s, where it became a staple fashion garment. Typically made in a floral pattern, as shown here in brown and floral print, replicated by Butterfly Treasures. Made in a vintage cotton from a reproduction sewing pattern which cater for the modern woman. The tea dress provides comfort and style to a host, or have tea and by the 1940s was worn in the daytime to run errands, have tea with friends and casual afternoon parties. Elegant and often featured ruching or shirring to pull it into shape. Is that okay? Thank you. You can go. Thank you, Joe. Sorry, lots of words I don't understand there. I need to watch the sewing bee more, apparently. I do, thank you. Okay, so we have Nikki back with us now, looking resplendent in a late 1970s style turquoise paisley print chiffon dress. Button front fastening with floaty butterfly sleeves and full skirt by Butterfly Treasures. Sleeves were big in the 1970s with four main styles, predominantly through the decade. The Juliet, which was puffed at the top and fitted from the elbow. The dolman or batwing sleeve. The butterfly or flutter sleeve, it's a tongue twister, as shown here, or the bell sleeve, which was very wide on the wrist and often much longer than the arm. So, we've learned something there. So thank you, Nikki. Okay, so now Nicola. So hemlines in the early 1960s were a little shorter than those in the 1950s, initially ending at the knee and gradually got higher throughout the decade. This turquoise paisley chiffon dress is made by Butterfly Treasure and lined with a soft cotton for comfort. It has a rolled neck with tie and long bishop sleeves. Thank you, Nicola. So we welcome back Lily onto stage. The fashion of the 1970s was mostly a continuation of fashion trends from the late 1960s. Lily wears an early 1970s brown and cream nylon sleeveless dress with a beagle collar and an A-line skirt. The beagle collar was surnamed because it looks like the ears of the dog. It does. The outfit is teamed with white knee-high go-go boots. These low-heeled fashion boots were introduced in the mid-1960s. Originally designed in 1964 by Andre Courageous, they were white, low-heeled and went on to include knee-high, square-toed and block heels in a variety of colours. They were mod, space age and appealed to the fashionistas alike. Thank you, Lily. Right, this is my confused face. We'll get there if you just sort of take lots of pictures of it. Here's Adam, right, because I have no idea what you're wearing until I read it. Okay, so this is Adam. Everyday fashion for young men. Bell-bottom jeans characterised by the distinctive style where the pants became wider from the knee down, forming bell-like shapes. This style was particularly fashionable during the 1970s. It was also common for old jeans to be customised with fabric to make them into bell-bottoms, as we can see here. These brown jeans show an example of this, worn with an original cotton shirt by British brand Mertius. The outfit is completed with a retro-style bomber jacket. Okay, so thank you to Adam. So we get back on track. I recognise this already. So, are you wearing a bob skirt, Adam? stage there. Okay, so this is Howden again. The bob skirt or circle skirt was officially born in the 1950s from the emerging post-war styles, starting with Christine Dior's new look, and is perfect to dance rock and roll in. Do you dance rock and roll, madam? She does, I've seen her. Here Alwyn is wearing a black and white 1950s bob skirt with a net petticoat, which should not be shown beneath the skirt or dress. Or a friend might say, it's snowing down south. So if a friend says that to you, you know what it means. To politely warn you that your underskirt is showing. Teamed with a 50s white blouse embellished with small black beads and bob or ankle sock, and the classic look black pumps. Thank you, madam. Stop. Okay, so Daryl's back with us in a 1960s wide-leg jumpsuit in a psychedelic print cotton by Butterfly Treasures. 1960s and 1970s hostess pyjamas were made to stand out from the crowd at your own house party. You certainly are. The pyjamas met loungewear and were made in bright, bold colours and dramatic prints. Nowadays we call hostess pyjamas jumpsuits, made from various fabrics including satin, velvet and chiffon, and they were fit for a queen. In the 1960s, the wider the pant leg, the better. So thank you, Queen. So here we have Adele. So Adele wears a blue summer print dress from a reproduction early 1940s sewing pattern by Butterfly Treasures. It has an elasticated waist, blouse and style bodice, cape sleeves and cotton lace collar. There's more. I'm just trying to work out what it means. The skirt has 8 gores. I'm trying to work out what a gore is. Which are fuller at the bottom and giving an upturned tulip look, and thus making it more ladylike to walk in, and is worn with a purchased belt. In the 1940s, fashion prints were reserved for casual dress or day wear. Many daytime dresses featured a small white collar. This ladylike detail was common on women's clothing. Thank you, Adele. Okay, so we have Heather back with us. Women's dresses in the mid-1970s were dominated by pastel colours. The peasant dress was a mix of hippie meets Edwardian modesty with a touch of folk art. They were worn mid-calf or ankle length, which is a maxi. Both seersucker and cheesecloth were popular fabrics during the 1970s, and they were easy to wash, required no ironing, and were cool to wear in the hot summers. Again, from an original sewing pattern, Heather wears a pale pink and white seersucker maxi dress teamed with wedges, the most popular shoes of the mid-70s. Thank you, Heather.
I've forgotten what I'm doing.
So we have Nikki back with us now. Creatively inspired by this African cotton border print fabric, Heather immediately saw in her mind's eye a retro trouser suit. Nikki models the reminiscing of Carnaby Street and Bieber in the 70s, complete with matching cap. She now wishes she had made it in a larger size so she could wear it. I think we can all agree Nikki rocks this outfit. Okay, so we're welcoming Andrea back onto stage. Is that really you under there? It is. So, this is an original 1970s punk outfit worn by Nicola, one of our other models, back in the day. This is a knitted, raggy lace dress with the iconic punk clothing label Boys of Kings Road, London. Founded by Stephanie Rayner in 1976, Boy has been a social barometer for over 5 decades, being part of the birth of punk. Billy Idol worked here with Sid Vicious and Johnny Rotten hanging out in the storm. Boy became a cult name and swept around the world, drawing crowds that caused chaos on the streets so big that a doorman had to be employed at the shops to hold the crowds back. Punk includes a diverse array of fashion characterised by anti-establishment views, promoting individual freedom and DIY ethics, its ethos being non-conforming. Andrea is portraying the glam rock punk style. The dress is black mesh covered by a large net squares. She wears fishnet stockings. She has, yeah, I can see those. With high black heels, with her makeup reflecting the Susie Sue style. Thank you, Andrea. This is our punk rocker back in the day. So Nicola this time is wearing an original 1950s handmade brick red and black floral striped cotton dress. The dress has metal covered buttons down the bodice and matching covered belt at the waist. It has a full gathered skirt and the sleeves are capped. And here we have the second stunning American loose seat bag, this one by Howden. Loose seat bags are a high class of plastic ideal for boxy style handbags. The designers created stunning motifs, added sparkles, shells and other embellishments. The bags were very expensive and became nearly obsolete by the 1960s. So thank you, Nicola. So bear with me, I'm having to go back a few pages, I think. Okay, so welcome back, Carol, eventually. She's wearing an original green background with brown and white flowers day dress. This dress, the fabric is cotton bark cloth, which is a versatile material once common in Asia, Africa and the Pacific. It comes from trees of the family of the Moraceae. Is that right? Moraceae? Yeah, it's not bad. The sodden strips of fibrous inner bark are beaten into sheets and fashioned into a variety of items, including clothes from trees. Think about it. The dress has a rounded neck and is sleeveless, pleats in the bodice to draw in the waist, and was purchased in France at a vintage festival. Carol wears her own brown belt and matching brown Rocket original wedge shoes, the design of which was taken from the original 1950s shoes. Carol's handbag, have you got a handbag? Yes, you have. This is why it confused me before. This is the second loose side bag with engraved leaves on the front. And I won't say the next bit because Nicola's already been on. So thank you very much, Carol. So, this is Effie again. So Effie this time is in a pink daisy polyester tunic with chain detail. Classed as a play suit, this can be worn with either flared trousers or shorts, all by Butterfly Treasures from an original 1970s children's pattern. She carries a pink bagpuss purse, yeah, I used to like bagpuss, from the popular TV cartoon which first aired in 1974. So big hand for Effie. So Adam is back, looking groovy in purple tight collars, flared with patch pockets made by Butterfly Treasures, with a flamboyant retro shirt of his own. Good choice. Very Saturday Night Fever. However, Adam asked Heather to make these for him to wear at raves. Very 21st century. Okay, thank you, Adam. So here we have Alwyn back on stage. She's wearing an original 1940s black evening dress by Eastex, made from cotton sateen. The bodice is typical of the time with pin tucks and a pleats at each side. It has a V-neck, long sleeves with 3 covered buttons at the cuff. With a typical metal side zip and pin-tucked A-line skirts, the pin tucks from below the crossover design waist panel. Alwyn's hat has a bow at the back and is ruched at the top to style with fur and is shaped jewel-dyed decorations and a back flap ensuring the hat sits securely on the head. The whole look is enhanced with a white fur stole and a black evening bag. Thank you, madam. Okay, so we have Daryl back with us now. She's wearing a stunning formal cocktail gown by Michaels of Mayfair, worn with a net petticoat underneath, bought in the mid-1950s by Heather's mum to wear at the officers' mess dances. The structure of this gown makes you feel amazing. Can't breathe, okay, but still amazing. And it has a bowed bodice with a full skirt on a stepped, dropped waist, so it really complements the figure. An excellent vintage, an elegant vintage. Have you got your bag with you? There isn't a bag. It doesn't say anything about a bag. So don't worry about the bag, but she still looks lovely. Yes, it's with her clothes. Thank you, Darryl. Okay, so here we have Carol again. She's wearing an original handmade 1950s sleeveless wriggle dress. Or wiggle dress, I keep saying wriggle, it's wiggle, isn't it? Wiggle dress. Again, we're unsure of the material that the outfit is made from, but it's got pink flowers and subtle blue background as being handmade, there is no label. It has a large bow sitting under the bust, on the bodice, with a horizontal panel under the bust to the waist and the original covered belt. It has a shawl collar bolero jacket with 3 large buttons and 3/4 length sleeves. You've got your bag with you. Right. Carol's blue crocheted handbag is typical of the 1950s. Okay, thank you, Carol. Okay, so we have Lily back with us. So another iconic mod design mini dress in a pink daisy print fabric. It features a petal-shaped collar. During the late 1960s and early 1970s, it was very common for mothers and daughters to wear clothing using the same fabric, as many women sewed their own clothes. You've probably noticed earlier, I think Effie was wearing an outfit from the same material. And of course, you can't help missing the matching tights. Okay, thank you, Lily. And here we have our second to last model. So we welcome back Michelle. She's wearing a 1950s style gold dress by Butterfly Treasures, with crossover bodice and full skirt, bound edges, passing notes, pressure up here, full skirt, bound edge to sleeve and small bow at the back. You will recognise this dress as Michelle. No, you won't recognise it because we've changed the running order. But interestingly, Michelle is wearing an Astrakhan bag and stole. So thank you, Michelle. So we've got our last model of the night now, which is me. So I'm going to hand over to Phil.
Come on, quick. So, with a break from traditional norms and a more violent time, Patrick is wearing a daisy flower print shirt, light brown polyester flannel trousers with shaped front pockets. The brand, which was born in New York in the 1920s, but reached its cult status in the UK in the 1970s. I remember your dad's wearing these to work. The jacket is a brown and black dog-tooth single-breasted sports jacket by Stanford, with contrasting buttons, pocket flaps and wide lapels. It's a sports jacket featuring a tab and a button on the underside of the collar to allow the wearer to raise the collar and thereby provide better protection from the elements. See it now? The burgundy shoes are late 1970s, original Clark's shoes.
And they're going in the bin.
Okay. So we've come to nearly the end of the fashion show. So what we're going to do now is, we'll do some thank yous afterwards, but what we're going to do now is welcome all our models back onto stage in a big round of applause. So we have Effie and Lily, Adam, Carol, Alwyn, Darren, Phil, Albert, Adele, Nicola, Andrew, Jane. We have Georgia, who's been hiding in the back, but doing loads and loads of great work. And Heather. And finally, we have Nicky and Michelle. Yes, I've got one time on stage. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed the fashion show. Don't know when it is. And we've got some fabulous things. So I've been here quite a long time today getting everybody ready. Michaela, who's done all the hair, so they've done a fantastic job. Obviously, as you've seen, lots and lots of outfits being made, particularly by Alwyn from the Knitting Bells and Heather from Butterfly treasures. So some really long hours going into getting ready for today. So thanks to those guys. Obviously a big thank you to Finlay and Michelle who've been entertaining us, and we'll see more of that shortly. Just a couple of sort of mentions of people who aren't here but or people that have sort of probably you've not seen. But so the fruit punch that's coming tonight you've had when you've come in tonight has been provided by Badger and Bean in the town. They've provided that free of charge for us. So we're a big supporter of Vintage Day, so it's a big thanks to the guys at Badger and Bean. We've got Kevin, our photographer, who was there, disappeared. So Kevin, our photographer, we'll get photos out from this one. He's over there taking pictures of everybody. We saw Georgia, she snuck out towards it. Georgia's been helping in the back room all day, doing some really, really sterling work, getting the models out in really, really good time. So a big thanks to Georgia for her help there. The models, obviously we've thanked those guys as they came through. And finally, the committee, Howden Vintage Day only runs by having a group of very dedicated volunteers, some of which are here tonight, many of which have been sort of in the back room making the strawberries and the sandwiches and things, and we've sort of kept us all going during the day. So a big, big thank you to the committee members. So I think we're about there. So a big thank you to you all for coming. Obviously you've raised some fantastic funds to help us drive and get Vintage Day back on in the Market Square next year.
Well, I'd like to say thank you for coming along today and supporting us for the Howden Vintage Day fashion show through the decades. So we'll see you all soon. Enjoy!